Hi, I'm Linda Mihara, and in today's class, I'm going to show you a wonderful model by Toshie Takahama of Japan, and it's this lovely rose brooch from a single sheet of paper. It's got this beautiful detail in the middle for the rose, and then the four leaves on the outside. Easy to go ahead and attach a pin back, and then you can actually wear this. And this is my variation, which shows you the color change so that you could get the wonderful, leaves to get that contrast going. For this class, you'll need a single sheet of duo paper, something that has color on both sides. I recommend a 10-inch by 10-inch for starters, as well as make sure that you have a creasing tool, also a pair of scissors, and a point turner or a chopstick or something like a paper clip to allow you to get the detail for the end of this model. So on that, let's go ahead and get started. So the paper I've chosen has orange on one side and this wonderful green on the back side. We're going to begin by folding a cream base. So the color that you want for the rose, have that face up, and we're going to go ahead and fold both diagonals, which means we're going to fold both triangles. So again, you want to make sure that you have the color side face up for this part of the model, and then make your crease. It's easy, and then follow with your creasing tool. So we're going to be reinforcing all of our creases with our creasing tool after that. If you don't have something like this, go ahead and grab a spoon, or if you have a round marker like a Sharpie, that works well as well. So we're going to go ahead and reinforce those after each step. You want to unfold that, and let's fold the other diagonal. Line up your corners. It's a good idea to kind of line up your points, pull straight down the middle from there, and then fold it to the right and left. That way it doesn't shift on you and you have a nice straight triangle. And then follow with your creasing tool. Like that. After you've done that, let's open it up. Let's turn it over to the other side. So now you're facing the back side of the paper. We're going to fold both rectangles. Okay, so the first one's going to be this one here. I kind of lightly hold it in place, making sure that that corner is lined up. Then I line up the other corner. And then again, starting my fold from the middle and working your way out, let's go ahead and follow with the creasing tool. Like that. Unfold that. And then fold the other rectangle. I'm going to rotate the paper, fold the other rectangle here. Line up your corners, line up your edge, and start your crease from the middle on out, just like this. And then follow with the creasing tool there. So now that you have that, let's go ahead and find the folded edge of your model, which is right here. I'm going to have it on the top here, on this side here. Grab each corner of the folded edge like this. And what you're going to do is bring your hands together. And what happens is the four corners meet at the bottom like this. And then you want to split your layers so that you have 2 and 2 like that. And then flatten. So now you have a preliminary base and you're ready for the next step. You will see that you've got a crease that goes right through the middle like this. And orient your model so that the opened end is facing you right here. We're going to use this center crease line as a guide because we're going to take this edge of the top layer and bring it to meet the center. So we're going to make it like that. It comes to a point at the bottom, and then you want to go up to, but not across that crease line that you have in the middle. After you've done that, follow with your creasing tool. Make sure that this is nice and articulated. And do the same for the other side. So we're going to take the left-hand section, bring that up. You want to make sure that you go up to, but not across that center line. And so then you have, reinforce it with your creasing tool like this. And so now you have what I like to call is an ice cream cone. And this top triangular part here is your ice cream. So we're going to take that and fold that down along the edge of that ice cream cone like this. And then make sure that you reinforce that with your creasing tool so it's nice and flat like this. After you have that, we're going to eat the ice cream and eat the cone. So let's go ahead and unfold that and unfold the cone. So now you've got these 3 creases that you've just created that look like that. So now that you've unfolded those 3 flaps, what we want to do is open this up into a petal fold. you want to leave this triangle flat and use the bottom of the triangle as your hinge as you peel open this top layer of paper and open it up. So you see how that's working. Make sure that that stays flat. Open and stretch the paper out. And you see how the sides start to come in. And what you want to do is start from the bottom and work your way up. So let's start with the right side. We're going to bring that in, and we're basically just refolding that edge that we've created on the previous step. For the top part here, you just want to pinch it along that crease, and because you've reinforced the crease, it should fall right into place. So this is the end result. That side comes to the center complete like that. I'm going to repeat that for the other side. So start from the bottom, bring that side in like this, and then the top you want to go ahead and pinch. It'll reverse the direction of that fold into a mountain fold. And so now you have this, which is a completed petal fold on this side. Let's go ahead and take our creasing tool and go around the entire edge. And so now we have this. Now let's turn it over and repeat. So let's turn it over. We have our center crease line as our guide. And so you want to take this bottom edge, bring it to meet that center crease. And the same for both sides. Make our ice cream cone like that. And then follow with our ice cream by folding the triangle down. And then you want to reinforce everything with your creasing tool before you open it up. Make sure it's nice and flat. So let's unfold the ice cream and unfold the cone. Stretch the paper out by peeling open this top layer of paper, leaving this ice cream flat. Stretching the paper open like this, starting from the bottom, bringing the sides in, like that, and then you're going to pinch the top to put that in place, and the same for the other side. So starting from the bottom, bring that side in, and then you pinch, 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 and have it complete like that. So now you have and then finish with your creasing tool. So let's go ahead and go all the way around. So now you have your crane base, and we're ready for the next step. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, unfold everything. So let's go ahead and unfold that. And you will see you have a series of creases, which are really important. Orient your model like this so it looks like a star and it's on its axis. We have these creases. I'm just going to go ahead and draw all of the creases so that you know what we're doing for this. This is one of those symmetrical models. What you do to one corner, you do to the other three. And it all falls into place. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so those are the key folds that we're going to work with right now. Let's rotate it this way. And so what we want to do is we want to refold this line here. And the best way to do that is to kind of do it all at one time. What's going to happen is that this point here is going to come straight up perpendicular to the table, which is kind of cool. And then we're going to flatten that. So let's start on the left. Let's bring this and refold that edge in there. Let's refold the one on the right. And so then now when you complete it and bring it to the center, this triangle will kind of pop up. What you want to do now is to take the triangle and you just want to move it forward and then flatten it. And what's going to happen is you're creating additional folds behind it. So that allows it to lay flat like this. So this is what you want to have happen. Once you have that done, you're going to take the right side of that triangle and you're just going to swing it, open it up and swing it over to the left. It's going to look like this. And then this part here ends up flattening. You continue, and this will flatten just like this. And then you want to go ahead and make your crease so that it looks like this. So you've got a point that comes over to the left, like you see here. Let's go ahead and follow with our creasing tool around there. So this is nice and flat. We're going to repeat that on the opposite side. So let's go ahead and rotate that. Let's flip it upside down. And then we're going to again, start from the left side, bring that in, bring the right side in, identify your triangle here, bring the triangle forward, flatten that out, just like this. Follow with your creasing tool, and then take the right side of that triangle and swing it over to the left, opening up this side here, and then continuing to flatten the top part of that flap up in here. And so now you have this, what looks like this here. Now that what you have to do is reach behind here and pull open the first petal that we've created. So you're just lifting it up and moving it on top of the center layers here. So it looks like this. So now you should have a crease line that looks like this. And what we want to do is create 2 additional folds, 2 additional petals with this next step. Let's work on the right. So this one here, the one that we just exposed from the back, you want to just open it up and swing it over to the left. You don't have to flatten it, but I do want you to take note of the crease line that's right here. That's going to be your guide for the next step. What we want to do is take this, open it up. You have your crease line there. You're going to take this flap and we're going to make a valley fold right along that crease line there. That's the first step. Kind of put that in place. And then you're going to take the top edge of that same flap and fold it down. And it's going to align with that crease that you saw when you opened it up. And it's going to start at a point here at the corner. So you want to pull this down, start it from the corner, make sure it's kind of nestled up against that edge. And then when you complete it, this should be right in the middle. This should line up right through the middle of the model like that. And then the final step is to take that same flap that we opened and just reclose it. So bring it back down. So now you have your 3 petals here. And we're going to do the same thing for the final petal on this side. So for this one, we want to take this petal, open this up. Here is your crease line that you're going to be guiding, that's going to guide you for the next fold. You're going to take this flap and refold it along that crease line there. So let's bring that all the way over, put that crease in place. And then we're going to take this bottom edge here and fold it up, which is going to start at the corner and it's going to follow that edge, that crease line there. So it's going to look like this. So once that crease is in place, you're going to replace this flap by bringing it up like that. So now you've got your 4 petals like this. Let's go ahead and take our creasing tool and just go around and just reinforce all of your creases so it's nice and flat and articulated like this. So now let's turn the model over to the other side. So let's flip it over and it will look like this. Your creases should be these 2 diagonals, plus you've got your boxes like that. We want to use those diagonals as a guide for the next series of steps. Let's take this bottom edge and we're going to, using this as a pivot, we're going to bring this bottom edge to line up with that diagonal. So it's going to come out and look like a triangle. Make sure that you go up to, but not across that diagonal line there. So that you come to a point here and come across like that. And let's follow with our creasing tool. Now you're kind of building layers and it's really important to make sure that those folds are nice and flat. So now that you have that, let's move to the left here. We're taking this left-hand edge here and we're going to use this corner as your pivot, this one here. We're going to bring this edge to meet this diagonal here. So it's going to come across just like that. And then follow with your creasing tool for sure. Like this. And then now we're going to take this top edge. We're going to just work clockwise here using this corner as your pivot. Here's your diagonal that you want to use. So bring that down. It's going to start at a point and then come, and this should line up with this edge here. You know, we're making kind of like a box or a square in the middle here. So after you've completed that fold, let's use our creasing tool, especially here where all the layers are, okay? And then now this final one, how are we going to get this one over to and overlap like the other ones are doing? The fold is going to run along the edge of this layer here. And this top edge is going to align with this edge here. So we're just going to bring this point over, and it's going to, you want to fold along this edge here. So it's going to look like this. I'm going to bring it over, and it's actually, it starts, or the fold happens right where this point intersects the main part of the model. And then this edge should line up, both edges should line up. And then it should come pretty close to being connected all the way here in the middle. So it should line up with this here. I have a little gap, and that's fine, because you do have a lot of layers, and there's a stretch that happens with the paper layers. And after you've made that crease, follow with your creasing tool for sure. We really want to make sure that that is nicely flat. So now that we have that, what we want to do is open this up, and we want to bring this point out here. What we want to do is take this point and bring it back in. And we're refolding that line there. Now, this part here, you want to reverse the direction of this fold. And so by opening this up, you want to bring this inside, and it's going to tuck in. So the best way to do that is to start from here. So you bring this flap in, you kind of bring the paper in, and if you keep pushing the paper in, this will turn into a mountain fold. So that whole edge gets tucked in behind that point. So your front should look like this, and that edge is completely tucked inside here. So this is what it looks like on the inside. See how that works? So you're tucking that whole thing in, basically refolding that, tucking everything in. So now it looks like this. You've got that little triangle here, and you've got your flaps that come around like this. Let's go ahead and use our creasing tool. Okay, so now that we have that. Next step, we're still going to work with this same flap that we've just articulated. And what we're going to do is from the point here, let's swing it over to the left. And what's going to happen is it's going to fold along this edge here. And when it does that, you see there's a pocket that's created here. If you keep bringing this all the way over, this triangle will present itself. And what you have to do is just kind of flatten it and squash it into place so that you have an angled triangle here at the bottom. This is key here. It has to come over across at an angle, touches this edge here, and then you want to use your creasing tool and make sure that this is nice and flat. So this is what you should have. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the model a quarter of the way. So let's rotate it like this. And so I'm looking at this box here. So now we've got this point here on top. We're going to take this point. We want to bring this over. If you open it up like this, this is going to naturally find a way to come over the same way the other one did. So when you bring the point over, this will stretch and create this triangle here. And you want to go ahead and flatten that like this. After you do that, you want to take this point and tuck it inside the first layer that we've created on the previous step. So it's going to tuck into that pocket there. So now it'll be like like this. Tuck that point in. So let's go ahead and rotate it again a quarter turn. So now we have this. And then here's our next point. So you're just going to bring it over. You see how that kind of it just kind of, if you work with the point and bring it across the way, this will present itself, and then you just squash it into place. And then tuck in that point inside there. So it's looking like that. Now you've got your layers starting to make the edges of the rose. And let's go ahead and do the final one, but let's go ahead and rotate first. And so what we have to do is reach underneath this to get that final one here. So if you pop this up, reach underneath, here's your final one. And if you pull it forward, but you do have to kind of open up a pocket in here. So just kind of open that up. This comes across, and then it will flatten, or you want to flatten it. And see, here's that triangle shape. Flatten it. Let's go ahead and tuck this point inside that flap on the left. And then finally, this first one gets tucked into that one that we just created below. So just tuck that in. So now this is actually the completed rose portion of this brooch. What we want to do now is to put the detail on the leaves on the back. So let's turn the model over to the other side. And you're looking at this. We're going to create the leaves by making a valley fold on these points here, folding this in half. So start from the outside. It's just a really simple way of just pinching the paper together all the way till it doesn't go anymore, like this. And then you're just going to bring it forward. It's a rabbit ear that's actually gets created. And then you kind of flatten it like that. Then you're going to take this and you're just going to fold it down. You're going to make a zigzag fold. So it's kind of a back and forth fold that kind of goes off at an angle. And you want to make sure that that's nice and flat. And let's rotate and do the same for the remaining three. So again, you're just going to make a valley fold. So you're pinching it together. Pinch, pinch, pinch till it doesn't go anymore. You want to flatten it like that. Then fold it down at an angle, up at an angle, and down at an angle. You can do as many as you feel comfortable doing. Make sure that's nice and flat. You can follow with your creasing tool. And then continue on the other remaining two. Pinch from the corner. Pinch, pinch, pinch until it doesn't go anymore. Flatten it so it goes up. Fold down, up, down, and up. Back and forth. Let's go ahead and use our creasing tool. And then the final one. Pinch, pinch, pinch. You want to, till it doesn't go anymore, you want to flatten that. Fold it down, up, and down. Flatten that. Make sure that those are nice and articulated. And then now we want to unfold them slightly without losing that detail that you just created. And then turn it over. And that is your completed rose brooch. You can certainly shape it additionally the way you want, especially with these leaves out here. And you'll notice inside there should be like 4 corners here. Each corner has a little pocket. So you can actually pop this open and make additional detail on your rose. See how they pop that open? Just to kind of create more layers. And then let's go ahead and shape the rest of this rose too. So you could really be creative and change it the way you would like it to be. If you want more petals, more layers of the petals to show, you can certainly articulate those. So I've gotten the center here. And you'll notice that there are layers here. So you can kind of separate them out, maybe pull the one on the outside out a little bit so you have, see these two layers here. And I kind of like that. If you just slip your chopstick or other, like your point turner, and just kind of grab that first layer and just kind of push it from this way with your thumb, and then just kind of open the layers here like this. So just so that you have that detail, which is really nice. And especially if you're doing a 6-inch, it's really small, so you need something that has like a paper clip that's more, that will allow you to get into the layers and pull that open for the detail. See, so that kind of looks good. So you have additional layers like that. So that is the completed rose brooch, and it's a lovely model, as you see, because you can really shape that nicely. Now, the variation that I came up with, where you see the backside of the paper and you get that contrast in the leaves, is a very simple way, and you'll need some scissors. So you go ahead and grab your scissors. Let's turn the model over, and let's go ahead and make a cut between this point and this point. It's pretty much where these petals meet at those corners. So you're just going to cut straight across just that one layer there. Right? So you cut both halves of that petal. So when you cut it, it's a simple matter of opening this up, turn it over to the other side, and refolding it so that now that you have the green exposed and you have your wonderful leaf, that's the contrasting color. Let's go ahead and finish the rest of this. And so if you are going to do this variation, I suggest cutting it before you do the detail with the ridges on the leaf. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those here. Cut this. And then let's flip them around to the other side. And then you might end up tucking the excess underneath the rose part here. And then you can actually, before we turn it over, we can go ahead and articulate the ridges on the petal, the leaf rather. Pinch, bring it up. It's that same diagonal kind of fold. And then when you unfold it, then you have that nice detail like this. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that. But the fold's already there because of the previous step. But again, pinching it, flattening it, doing your angle folds, and then popping it open. Same for this one. And popping it open. And so that is my variation on the Rose Brooch by Toshio Takahama. I hope you enjoyed this class. Go ahead and attach a pin back to it and wear it and have some fun. Thank you so much for joining me. For more videos, check out Paper Tree SF on the YouTube channel, and happy folding.